veterans, I don't know. The veterans, I just say it's absolutely wonderful to judge them.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's anything really special with them. It's just wonderful to see well kept veteran dogs, and which are still in condition. So
Are there any parts of the standard that you get a lot of questions about or parts that require further explanation?
I think the Bracco standard is describing the breed very well. Um, I wouldn't change anything. I think it's one of the standards which are very well written. Um, I think what people have a little bit difficult with is to understand perhaps the head sometimes. The Bracco head must be very sophisticated. It must be a very soft expression. We see sometimes dogs with round eyes. We see dogs with too much skin, too heavy heads, not correct head plan. We want a diverted head, but we also prefer to see a little bit slight Roman nose. And I think heads sometimes can be difficult for people to understand. If you have not seen a really, really beautiful head, it can be a bit difficult to understand it. I think also top line is something which is special for the breed. And I think we can see many dogs which are a bit too flat, which don't have a little dip in the top line. Mind that by talking about this dip, we do not want the Bracco to have as much dip, for example, as the Spinone. We want a slight dip. That doesn't mean they should be hanging in the top line. We don't want them to look like they are, like two different dogs, front and rear. We just want a little marked dip. We also have to talk about the croup, because the croup is something which is very specific for the breed. And also the tail set. The croup is more steep, but that means we cannot have a short croup. We need a quite long croup. We also need a dog which don't have a tail set just following the top line, like a retriever or a setter. We want to have the set more lower down. So I think top line sometimes is something both judges and breeders have to think about. Then I want to just make a mark that young dogs, especially young males, sometimes can be looking a bit straight. When we talked about young dogs, 12 months old, at this age, between 8 and 10 months old, you might see that they look a little bit more straight, and then the dip will come when they mature and they dry up in the body. They will get the correct dip. So sometimes young dogs can look a little bit more straight, but on a dog which is 3-4 years, they must never be absolutely straight. They must have a little marked dip.
Can you describe the general appearance, the size, proportion, and substance of the breed?
It is a dog which it must be a combination of strength and elegance. It's a dog which is powerful. It must be a powerful dog with good, strong bone. But said this, it has also to have an elegance. It must have the beautiful, well-shaped head. The neck of the Bracco must not be extremely long, But we don't want to see a Bracco with a short, chubby neck. We want to see a nice neck. They should have well laid back shoulder. We want the upper arm well angulated. We want to see a good front fill. They must have volume in their chest. Sometimes dogs can have a little bit too short sternum, so that is important, that they are filled out, and also that the chest is long enough to give space for lungs and heart. Well angulated rear is important, especially to have a good typical drive when seen from the side. That is something we sometimes see, that Braccos are unsound, they are not enough angulated. We don't want them though to be too extreme. It must always be a good balance between front and rear. So the overall picture of a Bracco has to be elegant, powerful dog. Size-wise, I think that we more often see a little bit too big dogs. We start to see, especially males, that get a little bit too high. I think that always when we look at the size and measure the centimeters here and there, the Bracco has an acceptance with 2 centimeters over and under. And to be honest, you have to also think that this is a dog that must be functional. So when we think about the purpose of the Bracco, that they must be able to do their work out in the field, it's a dog that must be able to run and hunt, sometimes for a whole day. When it gets exaggerated in size in any direction, it is not functional. A too heavy dog will do the work probably, but it will be harder for the dog. It will be harder for the joints, for ligaments. And so you don't want them too heavy, not too light.